A dive crew from Pearl Harbor, Hawaii boards a Republic of Korea Navy ship to aid the USS Safeguard in dive operations. They will search for the ejection seat located days earlier while the Safeguard searches for the rest of the aircraft. Using sonar equipment, a U.S. Navy ship located the pieces of the aircraft. Now the members of the USS Safeguard try to recover it.
Lay out on starboard a little bit first, then we're going to heave in on port. We're going to take a look at what we got aft.
Somewhere between 60 and 80 feet underwater. To compensate for the wind and weather, the commander of the ship strategically places the anchors to hold the vessel above the wreckage. Meanwhile, divers prepare to go into the water.
They go down to the bottom, and one diver remains on the diving stage, which is a platform connected to the ship that they work from. The other diver is fed a length of hose, and we know the length that is fed out by making marks on the hose. And he goes out and then gets low to the bottom and makes a circle, an arc. And if his umbilical, that hose carrying the air, snags on anything, he can detect that through the change in tension as he's moving along the bottom.
Band the focal detail.
He would then head back to that object, identify it. If it is a piece of the wreckage, if it's small enough, he would pick it up and bring it with him. If it is a larger piece, would mark it so that folks can come back to it later for lifting it from the ship.
Because of the weather, they only have 2 opportunities to dive each day. Each window is only about an hour long, so time is critical and their training invaluable.
Right now it's proving even more so because of the weather. Our dive window is not very long, it's only a few hours a day, and so being as efficient and safe as possible has allowed us to get as much diving in as possible, and that's all associated with our training.
But the weather, some crew members calling it the worst they've seen, is proving to be a much bigger obstacle than expected, and one that is not easily overcome.
Imagine walking outside on a night where the wind was blowing 60 miles an hour and you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and then searching for something and trying to identify what component specifically you've identified, and then working with heavy pieces of equipment in order to lift it over your head, all still in the dark and in that high wind.
Console! Tag back, MMP!
Even without the weather, a diver's job is dangerous. Once they resurface, crews rush to get them out of their gear so they can be taken to a decompression chamber before the effects of the dive cause permanent damage. This dive was unproductive, so hours later, in the middle of the night, they try again.
Good diver, move the stage.
The crew braves the weather above and below the water to accomplish the mission.
On the side, going up and over. Going up and over.
This is what the guys train for and want to do. This is the opportunity to contribute to a safety investigation to help determine the cause of the crash. We're very fortunate and very happy that the pilot was able to eject safely, but we do know that if we're successful here, we may play some role in preventing a similar mishap in the future.
But that will have to wait. The dive again is unproductive, and the risk to the divers is too great. The operation is called off, with the thought that the weather will be more cooperative at a later date. Reporting from the USS Safeguard, I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Melissa Allen.